Next, a heavyweight Second World War bomber that became a legend in its own lifetime.
The British Lancaster Mark III. Manufacturer, AVRO. Power plant, 4 Rolls-Royce Packard Merlin 1,390 horsepower liquid-cooled engines. Top speed, 270 miles per hour. Payload, normal load, 14,000 pounds. Maximum, 22,000 pounds. Armament, 8.303 machine guns. Range, 2,500 miles.
As the B-17 was America's most famous wartime bomber, the Lancaster became Great Britain's. From the moment it went into service on Christmas Eve 1941, it became Bomber Command's favorite aircraft.
The Lancaster is famous because a Lancaster was big. In order to make a big aircraft like the Lancaster able to carry a lot of bombs, it had to be very powerful. And it's interesting that the Lancaster carries the same engine as the Spitfire, and indeed as some versions of the P-51. It's got the same engine as a pursuit aircraft, it's just got more of them. You don't need to tool up another factory. You don't need to divert requirements from one place to another to build a bomber engine and a fighter engine. You just keep pumping out the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, as many as you can, and you just stick it on whatever aircraft you need to fly.
Night after night, Lancasters went off to bomb German targets, carrying operational bomb loads of 12,000 pounds and a defensive armament of 8 machine guns. They were Britain's frontline bomber. And as the war intensified, more and more Lancasters were coming into service. And with them came the cream of Britain's RAF. As the war increased, so did the requirements of the British military planners. Lancasters were proving that they could be called on to undertake any mission thrown at them.
You name the major raid on Germany, this aircraft took part in it. The capability of special operations against places like the Mona Dams, bombing of the Tirpitz battleship in Norwegian waters, breaching bunkers, destroying the factories of the B-2 terror weapons. The Lancaster has got it all.
As these raids increased, so did the Lancaster's bomb load. 10,000-pound high-explosive cookie bombs, 12,000-pound tall boy bombs, and the 22,000-pound Grand Slam bomb, the heaviest bomb ever dropped in World War II. No target was safe from the Lancaster's huge destructive power, and the fear they produced on the enemy population was immense.
If you talk to any German of the generation that lived through bombing campaigns 1941 to 45, Hamburg or the Ruhr or Dresden or Berlin, they'll talk about the terror weapon, the Lancaster, and the terror flyers, the crews of Royal Air Force Bomber Command. So yes, I think it had a huge effect on morale.
Bomber Command had the highest casualty rates of the Allies, with over 55,000 men lost. From 1941 to 1944, the Lancaster was Britain's primary strike weapon against the enemy and dropped 2/3 of all bombs by the RAF. So the power of its payload and its 12 years of service length rates the Lancaster high in these two categories, as does its fear factor. But its innovation and defensive armament lets it down. So Britain's mightiest bomber comes in at 5th place in our top 10 best.